in the setup as they did earlier.
Right, here's one to watch. Lauren Kieffer Veronica, third after dressage, a combination that are going to the Rio Olympics for the United States of America. Lauren, who's been second twice at Rolex with this horse, owned by Team Rebecca. Of course, Becky Broussard done so much for the sport, and Jerome and Sarah will no doubt be tuning in to keep an eye on this horse on its road to Rio. And they're very busy up there in the Big Sky State of Montana preparing for the Rebecca Farm International Horse Trials in 2 weeks' time.
And Lauren's starting out really well. She and this horse have a real partnership, John. Their results haven't happened by accident. Now that's confidence. Look at the way she just turns around there and gallops down to that. Other people have been struggling.
She's still on her dressage score of 43.7, and that has her up the order, of course. Third going into cross-country, and after Maya Black's problems, she's riding for second place with a clear inside the time.
I know we've said it before, but you watch Lauren through the water and you say, well, that's easy. And yet we've seen very experienced riders, very experienced horses have a lot of trouble there. That's easy if you ride well, ride correctly, train correctly.
Yeah, you compared Mike Etherington's courses to Derek DeGrazio's as well, and Ian Stark, probably one of our leading designers, does a lot over here. They all reward commitment.
Yes. Yes. Forward riding. You see that, the big drop down to the narrow jump. You have to be committed and you have to be going forward. If you start pulling around on the reins, you're in trouble. Let's see what she does now at this very difficult combination. Left leg. Good girl.
There's plenty would say that if you want to ride at these big solid obstacles, you do need to be committed. But
yes. Yes, but the horse senses that. They feel what your attitude is. If you are worried about something and you ride it as if you're worried, they'll respond worried. If you ride it and you say, this is really hard, let's go do this, they'll put their ears up and say, wow, this is fun. Yeah, let's go do this.
So Cooley Dream and Hannah Sue Burnett, 20 for jumping, 46 seconds over the time, 18.4 time penalties, 88 is their penalty total.
That's how you make the time over a big international course. She just galloped up the hill, made the turn, and kept right on coming to that big drop down the hill. Very well done there. And as I mentioned earlier, you see she landed and she accelerated right away. She didn't wait until she's going uphill to accelerate it. By the time Veronica's starting, left too soon, and another breakage of the frangible pin, John. So 11 penalties, and we've got to get the calculators out because that's an important mistake that Lauren just made.
Yeah, that puts her on a minimum of 54.7. It's going to cost her good few places, going to drop her down at least behind Buck Davidson and Copper Beach, who are in the clubhouse on 50.8. She could still stay top 10 or so, but it's going to drop her down the order.
Very unusual for this combination to be out of sync like that. There must be something about that oxer. We've seen another horse make the same mistake. We've also seen other people have hiccups there. So it's something that you would want to go back and ask the course designer later on, what was causing that? Because it looked to us as if you should just gallop up the hill and jump the oxer.
It's ramped the front of it. It's not a square oxer. It's ramped at the front, sloping front. So it's almost like a triple bar. But just as you say, something is.
When I walked the course the other day, I walked by that oxer. Now that you mention it, and I thought that's funny. It's not really that big a spread. And I thought, well, I suppose Mikey S. is just, it's on the backside. He knows there won't be much of a crowd there. Well, I think what he was saying was, if I put this jump here, several horses are not going to read it exactly right, and I'm going to make the spread slightly less because I don't want an accident here. I don't mind the hiccups, and he had planned for the hiccups with the breakable pins in that jump, and they did their job. But that's the experience. That's why Mikey S is as good as he is. He knows stuff like that, and is ready for it.
Yeah. The US, it must be mentioned, is one of the national federations that provides the frangible, the deformable safety structures free of charge to organisers. Britain, another federation that does that, and it's an important aspect of the developing safety of our sport.
So Veronica galloping past us, going out of sight. And then we hope in a moment coming back around to 21 ABC. Hasn't caused the trouble that the riders thought. The riders were quite worried about this. The first rail is tall. It's on a fairly steep downhill slope. And whenever you asked the riders about it, they all said, well, the corners and the rails at 21, that hasn't been true so far. I think everyone we've seen has jumped right straight through there.